What's going on, guys? It's Groove back again, and we're starting a new series today, and this is called Gradually Then Suddenly by Lewis Parker. Now, this is a Bitcoin book, and it's one of the better ones that I've read. So in this Bitcoin book, it's put together with a bunch of different essays. Like each chapter is like another essay about Bitcoin and some of the misconceptions about Bitcoin, along with other things as well. You know, this is a great book for people who have heard about Bitcoin but don't really understand it fully. And also people who have heard about Bitcoin have a little bit, but they also buy different cryptocurrencies as well. And this will kind of put to rest why it's only going to be Bitcoin in the future, why there won't be any other cryptocurrencies, or why Bitcoin will be the only one and is the only one you need. Because there's a lot of people out there, even right now, it's 2025, and people are like, oh, there will be other cryptocurrencies that are better than Bitcoin. Bitcoin isn't anything, special. It has no value. You need to get with this coin because it has some utility. And so this book puts that to bed. With this first chapter, I really like how it starts out. It talks about how Bitcoin will obsolete all other money. And this is a strong chapter to start this book out with, because it's like, why? Like, how is that possible? How will Bitcoin destroy all other fiat currencies and money as a whole? Like, why Bitcoin? And so this is where we're going to jump into it today. So when it comes to why Bitcoin will obsolete all other money, you need to understand money. Now, it's the properties of Bitcoin that make it superior. It is a superior form of money. And this is why the world converged onto gold as a superior money, because it has the best properties. You can't just have anything be money. It's the properties. And again, talking about gold, it's the properties that make gold very valuable. It's not the shiny rock itself. It's the properties behind the shiny rock. So some people may say that they don't care about money, or that money is the root of all evil, but we need money. Money is the thing that keeps society running. We need this thing. It's how goods get shipped from China to America. It's why you go to the grocery store and the shelves are always stocked. Money is that economic coordination. We need money. Money is used as a baseline to express value. The best money should be constant, to which all other goods are valued, which is why the current dollar isn't that good, because it always fluctuates in value. Like all fiat currencies, they all fluctuate. But Bitcoin is that base, it is that constant. Bitcoin doesn't change. So if you have, let's just say you have 1/10 of a coin. So you have 10 million Satoshis. If you open your wallet, you're always going to have that 10 million Satoshis in there. That dollar value might change, or your yen or your pounds or whatever you're measuring it in. That number may fluctuate, but you're always going to have that 10 million Satoshis in that wallet. It doesn't move. That is what the best money is supposed to do. Along with being constant, a good money should also be a common currency, something that we can all deal with. We all understand the set price of different things. And right now, majority of the world works off of the dollar. Because you can't just have hundreds of different currencies, because we wouldn't be able to price things properly. So when it comes to Bitcoin, this is where Bitcoin thrives. It is the greatest form of money. It's not a stock. It's not another crypto, which is promising some utility. It is perfect money. So the whole point of money is to just find one that we can all agree upon. And it has to be three things. It has to be constant, it has to be measurable, and it can function as a medium of exchange. So this is where Bitcoin is that perfect money, because it is constant, it is measurable, and you can use it as a medium of exchange. Now, when it comes to this constant, this is probably one of its best properties. It is that constant measure. It is the finite asset. If you have, let's just say you have 10 million Satoshis in a wallet, you will see that dollar price fluctuate, but you're still looking at 10 million. The 10 million Satoshis doesn't go anywhere, right? So it's not like you open your wallet one day and there's 9 million Satoshis in there, or 8 million, and then one day there's 11 million. It's just 10 million. And that is the constant. Everything else fluctuates. And if you see this dollar price that's continuously going up against Bitcoin, you're like, oh yeah, I'm getting a lot of money. Really, the dollar is going down. So you have your Bitcoin, and then the dollar is it's actually getting weaker and weaker and weaker against Bitcoin. So when the dollar price goes up in Bitcoin terms, it's actually getting weaker. So everything is going to zero against Bitcoin. A lot of people right now will sit there and say that Bitcoin can't be money because it's too slow. But That's just the base layer of Bitcoin because all transactions happen at about 10 minutes per transaction. But there will be platforms built on top of Bitcoin to allow transactions to go smoother. Just like MasterCard or Visa, when you swipe your credit card and it says transaction approved for these goods and services, that transaction actually hasn't happened in the background. So it says approved, but money actually hasn't been moved yet in the background. One example I know, this podcaster, Minority Mindset, and he talks about, or he doesn't talk about, but he talked about this one situation where he got an Airbnb and it was supposed to be a 5-bedroom Airbnb. And he used his credit card and paid $5,000 for the Airbnb. So when he got to the Airbnb, it was a 3-bedroom, but it had 2 smaller rooms. And he was like, this isn't going to work. So he called the person who owned the Airbnb and he said, hey, I paid for a 5-bedroom Airbnb. You kind of gypped me because these 2 smaller rooms, they're not going to work. These aren't actual bedrooms. And the person said, sorry, ain't got nothing to do with me. The transactions already went through. You got to take it up with Airbnb. So what did he end up doing? He called his credit card company and said, hey, explain the situation. I paid for a 5-bedroom. It's not a 5-bedroom. I can't stay here. His credit card company said, fine, that's no problem. Refunded his $5,000, just put it right back on his card. And then the credit card company went and dealt with Airbnb to get their money back. And so he swiped his card initially, and the transaction said approved, but in the back, the transaction hadn't even happened yet. And so again, these platforms will be built on top of Bitcoin to allow transactions to happen instantaneously while they're still going on in the background. So when it comes to what makes good money, it always comes back to the properties. So it has to be scarce, it has to be durable, it has to be fungible, it has to be divisible, and it has to be transferability, or that the transferability of it has to be good. Bitcoin hits every one of these aspects. Money just can't be whatever we want it to be. It has to have certain properties, and Bitcoin hits those properties. So this is where things get interesting, because people may hear this and say, okay, I get you. I understand money now and the properties, and Bitcoin has those perfect properties of money, but the governments will never allow this. They can't control it, so they won't allow it to be money. Well, currently, Bitcoin is being introduced as sort of a Trojan horse to the system. Michael Saylor, he keeps saying how Bitcoin is pristine collateral and you can borrow against it. He's looking at it more along the lines of real estate. And then you have Howard Lutnick, who is part of Trump's new administration, and he's sitting there saying that it's not money, it's not currency, it's not going to affect the dollar, but it is digital gold, it is oil. And so these people who are at the highest levels of government and these institutions are trying to sneak Bitcoin in as, a capital more than a currency. But Bitcoin can be everything. Again, they don't want to sit there and call it a currency right now just to get it in the door. But once it's in the door, it can be whatever you want it to be. It can be a currency. So first, the essay went over what is money? Why money it can only be a certain thing, and that thing needs to hit different properties, which Bitcoin does. And then next it goes over why all roads lead to Bitcoin. Why not another cryptocurrency? The number one reason for that is it's a finite scarcity asset. So it only has 21 million coins, and there will ever only be 21 million coins. People that have been researching other cryptos are like, well, there are other coins that are capped as well, so why can't it be another coin? How come somebody just can't make another one? This is where its second most valuable thing comes into play, which is its decentralization. Every other cryptocurrency is controlled by a team of software developers, a CEO, it's a company. You look at XRP and they've been going through all type of, legal trouble. Bitcoin was set in stone and the person who made it disappeared. And so the entire system is now decentralized. So anybody can run a node and make sure that transactions are going through and that they are the right transactions. This is why all roads lead to Bitcoin. Again, first it's that 21 million hard cap coins, and then it's the decentralization of the currency. So let's just say America wanted to hard fork Bitcoin. Well, everybody else around the world who's running Bitcoin and running a node will just sit there and say that the transaction is not verified. We don't verify this. So it makes everybody honest. It makes everybody play by the same rules. It keeps everybody in check at the same time. We need that. That is so crucial, is the decentralization of this Bitcoin money. As the adoption of Bitcoin increases, the security also goes up of the network, because now everybody's trying to make sure that this network stays safe and intact, which in turn will raise the credibility of Bitcoin. And then it's just a feedback loop. You know, more people join, which makes the network safe, and then which gives it more credibility, which then makes more people join, and it keeps going and going and going. And so the security of Bitcoin will continuously get stronger and better as more people adopt it. Another reason that all roads lead to Bitcoin is because when it comes to money, money is a winner-take-all game. So the best money will always win. As Bitcoin gets more adopted, as more people start to wake up to Bitcoin and how much better it is as a money, they start to realize, wait a minute, that house gets cheaper in Bitcoin. These goods and services get cheaper in Bitcoin. So they start to buy more Bitcoin. They start to adopt more Bitcoin. And then eventually businesses will want to accept Bitcoin. Hey, I want that better form of money. Come spend your Bitcoin with me. And then eventually further down the line, people will want to get paid in Bitcoin. Hey, you know what? I don't want to make $5,000 a month. I don't want to make 60, 70, 80K a year. I will take that 60, 70, 80,000 sats instead, because I know my money is just going to grow. It's just going to get more valuable in the future. But when we get paid in dollars right now, the value of your dollars just keep going down over time. But this is going to take a while for people to wake up to. And this is why it's good right now that you can just, you can trade your current dollars in for Bitcoin instead of, waiting for the future to where you get paid in Bitcoin. But again, money is a winner take all thing. So the better money will always win out. As more and more people start to wake up and see that Bitcoin is a better form of money, they'll start to choose it over the dollar. And then its pricing mechanism will just become more relevant. And eventually, I really do believe that you're going to go to the store and there's going to be two prices. It's going to be the dollar price, and then there's going to be the Bitcoin Satoshi price. And then the more and more people start to choose the Bitcoin, that dollar price will just fade away. And then Bitcoin will just be the money. Everybody will want to have Bitcoin. They will want to spend their Bitcoin. They will want to get paid in Bitcoin. And it's crazy because even in 2025, 16 years in, we're still so early. You see everybody online, they don't understand Bitcoin. They don't get it. They're going around flashing dollars, like, give me dollars. I want the dollars. But everything goes down in Bitcoin price. Like, if you want to buy a house, houses keep getting more and more expensive year after year. So that means you need more and more dollars to get that same house. But if you just save in Bitcoin, you need less and less Bitcoin year after year. It's the complete opposite. And the more people start to wake up, they're just going to opt in for the better money, which is Bitcoin. And even now, as Bitcoin is hovering around this $100,000 price mark, a lot of people are sitting there saying that Bitcoin's too expensive to buy. But once you really understand Bitcoin and really understand money and why Bitcoin is that better money, as long as you can trade in dollars for Bitcoin, it's cheap. Like, if you can trade in government paper for the better money for Bitcoin, it doesn't matter what price it is, as long as you can get Satoshis for that dollar, it's cheap. And when you realize this, it's a flip of the mind, and it's crazy when you realize this. So Bitcoin will always be cheap as long as you can trade in dollars for Bitcoin. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how complicated Bitcoin may seem to people. The need for money is real, and all money will converge on the best money, which is Bitcoin. And the more people see others winning in Bitcoin, they will opt out of the old money, which is the dollar or whatever currency your country has, and they will all opt in for Bitcoin. It's just inevitable. Everything gets cheaper to people who are on Bitcoin or using Bitcoin, and eventually more and more people will want to opt into that system. And that right there is how Bitcoin obsoletes all other money. So that's it for this one. If you've made it this far, go ahead and hit a like and subscribe for the algorithms if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.